Unshelling Medicine Podcast. Healthcare in the language we understand.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of ours. I have the pleasure of having Dr. Alain Salas with us. Dr. Alain is a medical practitioner, so he is a chiropractic physician, but also a mind and body expert. So it's always really interesting and quite educational when I meet fellow medical practitioners who not only practice modern medicine, but also understand the importance of the mind and body connection to healing. So we're going to have quite an interesting conversation with Dr. Alain today. We're going to learn quite a bit from him. So thank you for joining the conversation, and let's go. Dr. Alain,
all right,
welcome.
Thank you for having me, sweetie. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. So your medical journey, what interested you in the field of chiropractic services that you went that route in studying? I mean, there's so many areas of medicine you could have practiced, right? So many other specialties. What was the one thing that interested you, attracted you to being a chiropractic physician?
Yeah, okay, sure. So the first thing that attracted me, first of all, was to help people, right? Because I used to live in south of France. Obviously, I've got a tiny accent, as you may notice. Oui, je suis français, I'm French. And so I used to live on my sailing boat, and I was renting boat in south of France. And I had a calling. I saw myself helping others. And to make a long story short, I ended up going with chiropractic because we were talking about what they call the innate intelligence, your own ability to heal yourself. And truly, that was really fascinating to me. And so I went to America to study chiropractic. I met my French wife in a bar in Kansas City, and we've got a daughter named Maya. And so, sure enough, I graduated 3-4 years later. And here's the thing, I was treating people what I've been told to do. So people will get better, but after very soon they will plateau. And to maintain their health gain, if I can say that, I still have to treat them, right? So to me, it didn't, I was not satisfied with that. And because I think that when we've got, it's called the law of cause and effect, right? So when you've got a problem in life, you need to know two things in order to resolve your problem. And that problem can be a health problem, can be a relationship problem, can be a prosperity problem. It doesn't matter. No matter what the problem is, if you know, number one, what's causing the problem, and number two, how to fix it. So if you know what's causing the problem, you know how to fix it, guess what? No more problem. We're done. We're moving on. We don't even think about the problem anymore. So I started to see how can I make all that better, and I discovered that we're actually mind and body. And so we've got that mind and body connection, that we're not only physical being with physical stress, but also we are chemical being with chemical stress, right, which is inflammation.
Yeah.
And also we are emotional and obviously mental being, right, with emotional and mental stress. So what I wanted to do is just to treat the whole person. And so the physical, chiropractic treat only 20% of the nervous system, which are all the nerves getting out of your spine on the side and going everywhere in your body. So, why not treating 100%, right? So the 80% left are called the central nervous system, which is basically your brain and the spinal cord. And so I became a cranial specialist, right? And doing some cranial move to release the over 80%. And also I'm very creative. I always have some insight coming. I don't know how to describe that, but just coming out of the blue. And I created my own energetical technique. So with the physical aspect of the stress and how to deal with it, what's causing it, and that, I was pleased with that. And after, for the chemical stress, I already thought about it a long time ago. And so what happened, like if you come to my practice, we'll be able to identify which organ are under stress and also what's causing the stress. And so I made literally a practice out of it. And I had 4 employees and I was seeing like 250 patients a week with the help. Yeah, so it was very busy. Anyway, yeah, so I was living the American dream, right? The French guy that came from south of France and have a big house in the best neighborhood and all that. So I was pretty pleased with that, obviously. What happened is like when you think that you've got it all, you made it and all that, well, sometimes life will throw a curveball at you. And that's definitely what happened to me. So within a year, because I was so focused on the practice and I thought I was doing the right thing, I was living my mission in life and everything, that I become so stressed out. And so when I was coming back home after a day of work, I was there, but I was not present with my family. I had to say that, but that's the truth, right? And so within a year, that's what happened. So my marriage, went down the drain. So I ended up divorcing. And after I've got depressed because I had my daughter. It's lots of stress. It's never a handshake when you divorce and there's a kid, for sure. And so after I became depressed and I was already burned out. And so my practice went from thriving to failing. And on top of that, I got diagnosed with early stage of colon cancer. So here I am. I will advise you how to avoid those crazy inflammatory diseases, right? Like cardiovascular and the number 2 killer, which is cancer. And I was doing obviously my program and I got sick. So I have to rethink about everything that I knew, or I thought I knew about health, relationship, and prosperity, right? And so I have to rethink everything, just redesign myself in a way. But I knew there was something within me that was pushing me to sabotage my health, sabotage my relationship, and sabotage my business, right? My prosperity. And so I went on a quest to find out what the heck is going on here.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know.
That is, that's the pinnacle of success to life happening and happening very fast. And that story mirrors a lot of people's lives. Unfortunately, not everybody sees that because it's the success aspect we all focus on. But success comes as a prize. So when you went on to find yourself, Dr. Salas, what was the one thing that surprised you? Granted, you came into this with a lot of knowledge. You came into this knowing the stressors and how they can show up in the human body. What was the biggest surprise to you as a practitioner who was helping people in a way, but also neglecting yourself and your base, which was your family? And when things started crumbling, they all crumbled together. So in finding yourself, what surprised you the most?
What shocked me is the power of our mind and what our mind can do to us. We already know with research, right? When, like, for example, when the pharmaceutical industry, they do some research. And so they do double-blind study. So what they will do, basically, I'm on a study and it's for heartburn. So I've got heartburn problem. Okay. So they're going to give me a pill and they're going to say, okay, this pill we should take care of your heartburn, right? So I take the pill and have no more heartburn. But after I've been told that this pill actually is a sugar pill. So we call that the placebo effect. So meaning the power of our belief, our mind. If you believe that that pill is going to heal you, guess what? It's going to heal you. So they already know that. This has been known. We don't realize that we are actually the placebo. That we can be, if we use our mind correctly, if we talk the same language to our mind, we can use that amazing placebo effect to our advantage to heal ourselves, to get what we want in life, to deprogram ourselves. That was shocking to me. But it's already out there. It's already in studies. It's already recognized by the conventional establishment. But the problem is, like we say, oh, it's only the placebo effect. No, it's not only. It's everything. That's how healing, true and deep healing works. Oh. You see what I mean? Yeah. That's exactly it. So, of course, I started to research the mind because I knew there was something, again, deep within me that pushed me to sabotage that. So what it is? So, like you and me, we use Google, started to Google things. Very simply, all the information that I'm going to tell you, you can find it in Google right now, very accessible. So it's not like but still is a shocker because we don't see ourselves. What I'm going to tell you, your audience, it's going to be shocking, and they're going to have to redefine who they think they are, deep at their core. That's how deep this is it. How it can change totally the way you see yourself and the world. So let's get started on that, right? So look at the mind. So the first things, we live in two separate worlds at the same time. So what do you mean? Well, there's what we call the outer world, which is what we call our conscious mind, which is your self-identity, your personality, really, who you think you are, what you think you can do, what you think you cannot do, what you are aware of, your thought, your emotion, your feeling, your behavior and your action, how you perceive the reality around you, right? So that's your conscious mind. And after we've got the very mysterious, secretive, hidden kind of mind. And we call that the unconscious mind, very mysterious. And we're going to call it the subconscious mind to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
And so the subconscious mind job is to record everything you have been doing in your life from age 0 to now. All your skill as a woman, as a mother, as a podcaster, as whatever you do are stored in your subconscious mind. Matter of fact, all the automatic system in your body that you don't have to think about it and they function naturally, like your heartbeat, like your breathing, and so many different things that, it would be a podcast by itself just to talk about the autonomic nervous system, right? And so this is also controlled by your subconscious mind. So that was very intriguing to me. And so I started to dig more and more and get more information about it. And what is discovered is really shocking. So number one thing, your conscious mind processes data at 11 bits per second. Your subconscious mind processes data at 11 million bits per second. So I start to think to myself, this is very powerful, 1 million difference. So now the second thing that I'm going to tell you, that's the shocker. That's really the thing that I said, we need to do something about it. So if you look at the ratio between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, so depends who you're reading. On Google, you're going to find that information, the two things. Listen to that. Our conscious mind is only 5 to 10% of our mind. Therefore, our subconscious mind is 90 to 95% of our mind. And yet, when you want to heal, when you want to transform yourself, when you want to grow, what do we focus on? Only our conscious mind. Meaning we're using only 5 or 10% of our mind and brain power. So I thought to myself, you know what? Why don't we bring the subconscious mind to the party? That would be cool. That would be nice. And so that's what the mind clearing is about.
So it's interesting as humans. We have all the makeup that we need to function, to heal, to grow, to prosper, right?
Yes.
But for some reason, all this goodness is hidden within us, and it takes that work to bring it out. So when you got exposed to that, knowing that your subconscious mind is the powerhouse for you to realize your dream, your potential, and everything, how much effort did it take you? Because I'm asking this question because knowledge sometimes can be the biggest barrier, right? Also, modern education can also be the biggest barrier because you not only got education in the medical field where we're very heavy on evidence-based practice. That's what we do. And not only were you educated, you've also used this evidence-based practice to treat people. But now you are faced with believing in something that is not very palpable. So how was that process for you to not want to get stuck in wanting to see first before believing and delving into research and understand for yourself? I know you mentioned the placebo effect. Yes, that is studied, that is known and all of that. But when it comes to applying to ourselves, sometimes we struggle. So how was that journey for you?
Well, first of all, you have to keep in mind that I had a mission in life, right? And that was helping people. So if I have to stand up on my head and that will help you, I'll do it. That's my philosophy. No matter what works, right? And I'm very insightful. So I started to get insight and I started to do things out of the blue. I didn't get the knowledge first. I started to do things out of the blue. And that's how it works. So I started to do things like, okay, well, let's be open-minded. I think that's one of my best qualities is to be open-minded. It doesn't mean that I'm going to swallow everything and accept everything that you said. And it's not being a doormat. It's say, okay, what if? And follow my intuition. If my gut resonates with that, I will explore that. That's being open-minded. Like being closed-minded, no, it's not possible, blah, 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 blah. It's never been done, blah, 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 all that. That's being closed-minded. Yeah. It's to be open to new possibilities. That's really the way. So I've always been that way, and I started to do things out of the blue. I don't know how better I can describe it to you because that's the way it happened. And it's funny because in a way I started to treat people and treat myself to see how this will work for me. And the knowledge that I'm going to tell you talk to you about today was here. And I was there. I was much lower. Each time I was doing one more treatment. And after I was able to resonate to the knowledge that I'm going to share with you. That's how it works. More you've got clarity and focus.
Right.
More you got access to knowledge that you couldn't have access before. Some people, they talk about vibration. So you've got this kind of vibration and this is the vibration. So you raise your vibration and after you can resonate with knowledge. Because to be quite honest with you, what I was thinking, I said, I'm going to explain that to people. I mean, seriously. I even tell my patient, I say, I don't know how I'm going to explain that. Well, I guess let's do it. And sure enough, it came.
Wow.
That's why it came, because I was treating myself. I was treating other people, which I think I benefit somehow from, right? To be in that energy, positive energy and all that. And that's really how it happened. And so what I discovered, basically, it's like we are all programmed. So what do you mean? I'm programmed? Yes, you are. I am, you are, every human being has been programmed, and especially from age 0 to 6 to 8 years old. Because we are like kind of sponges. We absorb everything and we assume things. We assume what we're seeing is good for us. And so we make assumption, and repetitive assumption become programmed. And those programs are stored in the subconscious. So let me give you an example because, I think it will make more sense. So sweetie, let's pretend there's a little girl that see her dad coming back home every night and beat up the mom. What do you think that little girl's going to attract as a romantic relationship when she's older?
Maybe same. High probability same, yes.
Yes. Okay, so now why? That's a good question. Because 80% of the people will say that she's going to attract the same thing because that's what she knows, blah, blah, blah. But it go much deeper than that. So first of all, two things that I want to point out. Number one, when you ask that woman now, she's a woman, right? And you say, hey, do you enjoy to get beat up like your mom? What's she going to say? She's going to say, heck no. But she's got the program in the subconscious mind that says that men are predators and women are prey. Mm-hmm. So who's in control here? Her self-identity that say no, or the program that say, that's what's going to happen to you. Right? Number one. Number two, statement. How she's going to attract that guy? You say, hey, can you come and beat me up?
No.
Not really. So it means that our subconscious mind are connected somehow. Because we don't know everything. That's why some people say we are all one. So what they mean, that's at some level we are connected.
It's also an energetic attraction.
But what makes the energy?
It's the connection. It's a connection.
That's it.
Yes, is the connection. So Dr. Salas, how do you explain that same child who grew up in a household where they also observe that and then they make subconscious decision not to find themselves in that kind of a relationship because they've identified that that is not healthy. They have to be, because they're children that are kind of protectors of their parents. There's the mom or dad in that situation, and they've identified that this is not okay because they've always seen the one parent in a sad position and they understand what happiness and sadness is. So why is that subconscious more powerful to redirect that child to want something different and the other is not? How can we explain that?
Well, I mean, if you look at what can happen to that girl, there's 3 different case scenarios, right? Okay, so case scenario number 1, she marries a guy, gets stuck with him until the rest of her life. Case scenario number 2, going with that guy and after say, no, it's too much, I'm tired of being beat up, and maybe get another partner that's still abusive, maybe have kids along the way and all that, but look at all the suffering. And those women, there's 2 things they are telling me. Number 1, they say, Dr. Salas, don't talk to me about men. I'm done with men. They are not good for me. I don't want any men in my life. It's kind of, you put your finger on the fire, you get burned once, twice, and after you say, well, I understand. I'm not going to put my finger on the fire. To answer your question, you can heal from your life experiences. And what will be the healing for that woman will be that she's going to attract a totally opposite kind of man. Mm-hmm. A man that is very nurturing, very loving, respected her, that see her as an equal. But look at all the suffering and the uncertainty when this will happen. It's not guaranteed. And so case scenario number 2, she can come to see me and we can deprogram. We can erase that program because it's not her fault That's the way she has been programmed. She has nothing to do with that in a way. I mean, that's circumstances, but they are real and they program you at such a deep level that they override your mind all the time. If you compare, let's take the analogy, since we're talking about program. Let's take the analogy of a computer and the mind. So your brain will be the hard drive, the physical part of your computer. The subconscious mind is your software. The output of your software is your conscious mind. And your behavior is reflected on the screen of life. So if I've got lots of good programming, a good software, a good quality software, you're going to ask me, how's your life, Dr. Salas? Well, my screen of life, I love it, never better, don't change anything. Life is fun. Look at all those beautiful people around me and all that. I'm perceiving the life like with, but if my program is more negative, what's going to happen? My screen of life, and if you ask me how you doing, I say, oh, life is a struggle. I start things I can never finish. I can never reach my goal. And I've been divorced. I had problem with my daughter. And So I'm going to perceive life with, your subconscious mind programming is like the best way I can compare. It's like you wearing some filtering glasses. And when it's a negative program, what you see through those eyeglasses is not pretty. It's not the best. So what we can do with mind clearing, we can say, hey, let's get rid of those eyeglasses and see how life is.
Yeah. So even with wearing those glasses, you mentioned the young lady or man, I would say, who has experienced abuse, maybe experienced a negative relationship between their parents, and they're now of age and they're experiencing something similar, and they've gone from partner to partner, and then they're at the point where they're like, I'm done with anybody and all of that stuff, right? So that just reminds me of what is going on in the dating scene in the world today, where we have the red pill and the blue pill, where, the men are thinking that women are just out here to term men, pretend to be in love, get into a marriage and divorce and live without, take advantage pretty much. And, there's women that because of domestic violence and not being treated well are kind of like swearing off men, the better of not date because of their experiences or what they've observed in life. So you talked about clarity. I'm bringing this question to clarity. You said in order for you to access your subconscious mind, you have to be in a place of clarity and focus, right? How can one start that journey of clarity and focus? Because it's easy to say clarity and focus, right? How do I silence the noise so that I can pull into myself to focus and really listen to the messages my subconscious is conveying, as opposed to staying in my conscious mind? Because the way that I also think about it, so it almost feels like the frontal and the cerebellum. So that's how I think of the conscious mind and unconscious mind. So when anything comes like speech, everything is mostly like in the frontal, right? When it comes to reasoning and making concrete decision, the base of your brain is where to go. So that's how I think about it. So in order to quiet that, reaction, that speech, that, this is what I'm seeing, even with media, let's be honest, even with media does feed a lot of this conscious mind decision and behaviors. So how can a person focus and pull inward and have that clarity to, communicate with their conscious mind, or understand that there's something awry, to also seek help, from a practitioner like yourself in order to, communicate with their subconscious mind in helping them revitalize their life or reinvent their lives?
Well, the clarity and clarity and whatever.
Clarity and focus.
And the focus.
Yes.
And focus are the effect of being deprogrammed. They are not the way. They are just simply the effect. Because when you've got a program in your life, right? Let's say in your computer, you've got a program. What are you going to do when you don't like what you see on your screen of life? What are you going to do? You're going to delete that program and replace by another program. But I just described the first step of mind clearing. That's it. Because if it is the problem in my field, it's like they're going to tell you, oh, you need to journal, you need to do all those affirmations and hope for the best and do a lot of prayer, really, because they don't talk the same language that the subconscious mind. When I used to travel, the most frustration I ever had is when I wanted to talk to somebody and I didn't speak the same language. That was very frustrating to me. And I think that's what's happening in my field. In the field of the mind, we don't talk the subconscious mind field and the mind clearing talk the same language. Why? Because, well, what you get from your subconscious mind, you got information via dreams. When you remember a dream, what do you remember of a dream? Always a picture, series of picture. I never had anybody told me, hey, Dr. Salas, what I remember is like the smell of my dream, and that's it. That's not possible. So that's how your subconscious mind works. That's why it's so much more powerful. Right? It's 1 million times more powerful because we can store so much data, more data in the picture with all the symbolism, with the archetype and all that cannot even sometimes even be described by words. That's how we need to speak the same language. So basically, let's see if there's something, like you say, a negative thought that are bothering you, right? And so let's pretend I had a guy that every time he was making a mistake, he said, I'm a loser. I mean, vocally. I mean, not even in his head. Oh, I'm such a loser. He got tired of that. And so we just did mind clearing on that. So the way we did it, stage number 1, you want to delete what you don't want in your life in general, to keep it like super simple. So what I did ask him, I say, okay, Tony, what do you need to do? You need to visualize yourself swearing about I'm a loser. See yourself in that. And so I created a program that is going to send to the picture. And that's a deleting program. And we customize. That's why I'm here, to help him, to guide him, to give him the technology. But that's his own healing. Remember the innate ability to heal yourself, right? That's why I started with chiropractic. That's the same thing. It's empowering him to use his subconscious mind to heal himself in that context. So we just customize it. I help it for that. He sent the program. Right? So this is that what we call, it's called that negative programming. It's called a limiting belief, right? It's what you don't want. And after I would told him, you know what, Tony, I want you to visualize the opposite of that picture. Sounds familiar? Totally the opposite of that picture. And that's going to be your empowering belief. It's what you want. And what we're going to do, we're going to download that using that technique, right? Mind clearing technique. We're going to download that into your subconscious mind to replace your limiting belief. You don't even need to know what they are. It's too complex.
Yeah.
You just know that there's something you don't want, and you know what you want instead. Because if our self-identity is 5 or 10% of our mind, so do you expect using 5 or 10% of your mind to crack the code of 90% of your mind? The odds are against you. And so that's why we don't need to identify what the limiting belief. That's a big problem. You know, that's why people have so much trouble to do that. We don't. We replace it. Like a computer or something. And so, and number 3, that's very important. We got another program where we want to make sure that you create that into your life. But after he stopped saying it, and he did, he was not saying that any longer. And so I've got a question for you now. Do you think that your mind can create pain in your body?
Yes.
Do you think that your mind can create inflammation in your body?
Absolutely.
Do you think that your mind can create symptoms in your body?
Absolutely.
I just described the body clearing because we treat pain in usually an average 70 to 80%, 2 visits and it's gone. Doesn't come back because the program that created or reinforced that pain after the acute phase of healing is done, after our mind, well, I don't know if it can help me. Maybe she or he didn't get the result. It goes into programming in your mind. And that's what's reinforcing that pain. And that's why some people stay in pain for decades. Like you say, we've got the ability to heal. What's in the way? It's our mind. And those limiting beliefs, actually, that negative programming, they are the one controlling you. If you think you can control your life, you can have a laugh. No way. Those programs are controlling you, and specifically the negative programming are holding you back and make you perceive reality with those tinted eyeglasses that are not very positive, to say the least, right? And so they are the one dictating. It's kind of like your past, because those limiting beliefs are connected to trauma. Like, remember that little girl, that also challenge that we had in our life, and, you know, we didn't get over that. And they all got stored in your program. So that's coming from your past. So here's the thing. Our past are dictating our present and molding our future. And you can see that with that example of that little girl. That's her past. That dictating you're going to meet an abusive guy and the future, well, you get stuck with it. On case scenario number one. That's how powerful our mind are. So if we can bring again the subconscious mind to the party, we have a placebo effect. We use the placebo effect for our own good because we speak the same language that the subconscious mind. And that's not complicated. It's very simple. It's as simple that you've got a program in your computer, you don't like it, you delete it, you replace by another program, and you're going to love what you see on the screen. Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense. You talked about pain and, that goes into the chemical stressors. What is the one chemical stressors that you have seen in your practice that people have taken for granted and that has wreaked a lot of havoc on the human body?
Okay, chemical stressors, I will say it's food sensitivity.
Okay.
Because it's like you're poisoning yourself every time that you eat that food, and that food, you kind of crave for it. I know it's counterintuitive. And to tell your audience what I found the two food that you need to stay aware, and it doesn't mean that everybody's sensitive to it, at gluten and dairy. If you stay away from, zero, it means like think it's a poison to you, that's going to change your life.
So when we're talking about gluten, for people that do not understand, we had a period where there was a fad where gluten-free diet and all of that kind of stuff. For people that do not understand where gluten can be found in the diet, please could you explain that, Dr. Salas?
So gluten is all wheat product. The problem with gluten is not genetically modified, but they use the Roundup at the end. And that creates a chemical reaction also. It's called glyphosate. And so that's go to your gut and create a ton of inflammation because you get it at the harvest. So it's all there on top of it, right? GMO, they use Roundup at the beginning to make it grow. But here they use that so on top of the gluten is the chewing aspect of the wheat. When you get bread and you're chewing, that's the gluten. And so what's happening is just in America compared to Europe, which where I'm from, there's a lot of gluten. There's more gluten things. And so people gut react to it. And on top of that, with the Roundup now, the glyphosate is like destroying your gut.
So is there an alternative for people whose cultural diet is heavy on, say, grains and gluten level foods? So we're talking about the pastas, the breads, even some rice. So is there a healthy alternative that you can suggest, Dr. Salas, or, a total elimination from a diet?
Well, first, when you start that, you need total elimination.
Oh, okay.
Because the gluten-free product is going to be way too high on carbs, too much sugar.
Okay.
And sugar is very inflammatory to your system. And rice, there's no gluten in it. So you're good with the rice. The second culprit, so this affects your gut, right? So to heal chronic disease, number one thing, you need to heal the gut. And number two, it's like insulin resistance. Right? So when you stay away from gluten, which although it's gluten is the protein of the wheat, there's lots of carb, bread and all that. So that's good when you're eating less carbs, regardless, right? So that's going to decrease your inflammation. And we're talking only about the chemical stress right there.
The chemical stress.
We're not talking about the mind clearing, right?
No.
Although in the body clearing, I teach that.
Okay.
Because it's important to decrease the inflammation in the body too. Why not? So for me, I tell them what to do, how to supercharge the body with oxygen. So it's something that I teach too.
So, like, in the sense of, yes, somebody does the body cleansing treatment and then goes back and continues the same diet to assault the system some more. It defeats the purpose.
That's so true. I'm so glad you pointed that out because lots of people tell me, oh, you know what? Why don't we do you do detoxification? I say the best detoxification, what you can do is to identify what's causing your toxin and removing them from your diet. Remember, cause and effect again.
Yes.
Number one, you got a problem, you need to find what's the cause, and after you need to know how to fix it. And like you said, they spend thousands of dollars. Best case scenario, they will change their diet temporary, and after they go back to the same way. It's such a shame.
Yeah. Humans and change, we struggle sometimes.
Yes.
So, Dr. Salas, for a cultural and health perspective, what small change can a person do individually to get themselves to a place of, I don't like to use the word equilibrium, or in medicine we call it homeostasis, which is a place of balance, understanding the different way the body can be stressed, from physical to the chemical and also energetically, right? So how can a person get themselves at the very least on that journey before seeking guidance from you or any practitioner in your areas that speaks to the way that they want to heal themselves?
Well, the first thing you have to understand that it starts with you and it ends with you. That you have to be responsible for your health. Nobody can do that for you. There's no such a thing as a miracle pill you're going to take and you're going to be healthy, happy, and full of energy. It just doesn't work that way. The law of nature don't work that way. You have to put an effort, and you have to, after what I will say, follow your intuition, because your intuition is the wisdom of your subconscious mind. And so you go with your gut and research for yourself. Now, if we have been talking about the mind clearing resonate with you, get involved with that, right? If there's some other things, we all have different stages, right? But what I can guarantee, this is, the most powerful things that I ever done or created. When you start to go to the mind and your mysterious mind and be able to communicate with that, of course, it's going to be amazing. Because that's why what we call miracle actually not. Because we say we do have superpowers. We don't. Those powers have been very dormant in our subconscious.
They've been just dormant, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. You use only 5 or 10% of your mind power. You see what I mean? That's crazy. Allow me, I'm just going to see the big picture. So that's what you want, right? That's why you started, the question was about, I think. So visualize there's a sun. And the sun is like God, is like awareness, depends what your belief is, right? Pure love, it's the sun. And the spark from the sun creates your spirit. And it's all on non-duality. It means there's no judgment. It's all there is and has ever been. And after you've got your sky, and after you've got you and me, the physical being. So some skies, they've got so many clouds on some people that people say the sun doesn't exist. I never experienced the sun. And so what are those clouds? A limiting belief. So you start to get rid of limiting belief, and after you start to have a glimpse on the sun, you say, oh, it exists. And after you start to feel the warmth of the sun, right? And you get rid more and more limiting belief. And after you get more connected to your spirit. And because you get more connected to your spirit, visualize a triangle like that. And inside the triangle, you've got empowering belief, right? So you're going to think more on top of a triangle. You're going to have positive thought. You're going to have supportive emotion on the bottom right on the triangle. And on the left, because you've got supportive emotion and positive thought, you're going to have desirable behavior and productive action. And that's what we're meant to be, because what we have been told that we are only 5 or 10% of our mind. We have been told that I am only Alan. No, we are much more than that. We are a spirit living a physical experience. That's what we are. And we forgot that, I believe. And so that technique is one way to reconnect more to your spirit, right? And to be really who you are, to be connected to your spirit, to use 100% of your mind power for your health, relationship, and prosperity. That's what I'm talking about.
Beautiful. I like it. So as we're wrapping up our conversation, Dr. Salas, so what is the easiest way a person can raise their vibration on a daily basis?
Well, you have to do mind clearing, obviously. Because all this programming, but if you want some tips or some Band-Aid, because that's what they are.
Not really a Band-Aid, like something to just brighten you and put you in a state where you can dig deeper. What's the easiest way a person can just raise their vibration for the day?
Let's look at the stats.
Right.
If you look at the stat, 80% of thoughts are negative.
Yes.
80%. 95% of thoughts are the same as the day before. Right? So we caught up on that loop like a hamster on the wheel, right? That's really the way it's happening. But you always have a choice, right? You've got the choice to think positively or not. You have to, so you have to find what is right for you. Is it some meditation? Is it some visualization? Of course, mind clearing will go to the cause of a problem. So just have to find what works for you. But again, The problem is we caught up on those negative thoughts and therefore negative emotion, because that things is like this, a triangle again. So let's see a limiting belief, right? So let's see, my dad told me I'm a loser. So my limiting belief is I'm a loser. I'm going to think like a loser. I'm going to feel like a loser. I'm going to behave like a loser. Therefore, I'm going to have loser result. And that loser result is going to make me feel even more like a loser. I'm going to think, man, I knew I was a loser, but that bad, right? And so I call that the subconscious stress loop. And they are all running behind the scene. So obviously, you want to get rid of those loop, right? But if you cannot or whatever, you've got the choice to say, okay, I'm thinking negative now, so I need to be more the observer in a way and see, okay, this is coming from some program in my subconscious mind. This is not really my nature. This is not who I am, because who I am is a spirit living physical experience and connected to the divine. So the divine is not negative. It cannot, by definition. So you can take that time and reflect and think more positively about your situation and see that, what you experience in your life that you judge that are good or bad, but specifically when they are bad, I could have said, oh my goodness, look, I've got cancer, I've got this, and that. So I've never been on a victim mode. So you have to understand that what's happening to you in life is to make you better. It's for your own good. It's maybe not what you want. It's probably what you need.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree with that. Dr. Salas, something I usually ask my guests is to drop a few golden nuggets for our listeners, something that you'd like our listeners to reflect on and think about on their own journey to self-realization. So what are the few things or one thing that you would like our listeners to go away with today?
So number one thing, not your fault. Like those are programs. Doesn't mean that now you've got more knowledge, you can do something about it. That's your choice. But it's not your fault the way it started, right? So don't blame yourself and have self-pity and all that. It's not your fault. It's just programs that are there. And that's why when you have got that understanding, it really helps because there's hope. Because if you can be programmed, guess what? You can be deprogrammed. That's that simple. And the main thing is like, we have no idea how powerful we are. Absolutely no idea. Even I got treatment, but I still have no idea. I mean, 90% of untapped power that is there. That's crazy. And when you think that you're more connected to your spirit, I rarely stressed out. I really don't. And for example, can you believe I used to have a public speaking fear? I used to freak out. Look at me now. I'm like fish in the water talking to you. But I used to, and I treated myself for that. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's hope, and we don't realize how powerful we are. That's the main thing. And I truly believe that we are in a world now that is at a crossroad.
Yeah.
So either you go with transhumanism, right, and implant something artificially controlled by who knows, like the AI or things like that. Some people everybody, it's free. You choose, you make your own choice. But I believe because of that, unbalance, like you said, unbalance.
Yeah.
I think technique like that is coming, like the mind clearing, probably other techniques going to come out just to make sure that we can get more connected to our spirit. Because no computer, no AI can compete with the divine. No way. They cannot. They can mimic it, maybe intellectually, which is only 5 or 10% of our mind anyway. They can be better than us, of course. Yeah, we're faster and all that. But the creativity, and the creativity comes what? Come from what? From your subconscious mind. From your spirit and the divine.
Beautiful. So, Dr. Salas, where can people find you? So our listeners who are listening in, enjoying this conversation between you and I, can they find you in socials, your website, all of that, please?
Yeah, well, the simplest way is to go to my website. It's called themindclearing.com, and you go into contact. And so you've got a form that pop up, or you can use my email and you can contact me. And so if you contact me and you want to get treatment because you say, well, I really want to experience that and see for myself, if they come from your podcast, they mention your podcast, they will get 20% discount. And I will give them, it's 1 hour treatment. And also if they want to learn, if you're somebody that just say, it just makes sense to me, I need to get rid of my programming, and you don't want to do it by yourself, yeah, you can learn that. I teach that. Of course, I want to teach people. And Not only if you like a coach or a health professional and you want to have deeper results with your patient and in the health sector, but also in relationship and in prosperity for the positive mindset, for example, and things like that. You cannot have a positive mindset without having a subconscious positive mindset.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I guarantee you that. That's patchwork otherwise. That's a band-aid. And so, yeah, if you want to go deeper and have deeper results, you can learn that for yourself, to treat yourself, but also to help your clients. If you do the mind clearing, if you learn the mind clearing basic, the body clearing, and the goal and success clearing, I will give you, if you take that package, I will give you 50% off.
All right, you heard it here. So, Dr. Salas, how about people that are globally around the world that are listening to us? Because my audience does span of the global sector.
Uh-huh.
So, how about people that are, anywhere located in the world, but they're very interested in working with you? They like what they hear you speak about. So, how can you work with those people?
You just treat online.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because, you are using I'm giving you the technology to use your own power of healing. So it doesn't matter. I like to be video because there's some hand placement, there's some different things. I want to make sure I double check and look at the body language.
Right.
But yeah, I do that all the time.
Good.
Most of my patients are online, actually.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Everything Dr. Salas talked about, we're going to include it in the show notes, his website, so you can click it and get right in. If you're curious, go take a look, take a gander, ask questions. Dr. Salas already said you can reach out to him through the contact form or email. So utilize all the contact avenue to reach out should this be of interest to you. Take very good care of yourself. And if you want to mention the podcast so that you can get the discount, the 20% discount that he mentioned, that would be great for you as well. But it is something that I believe everybody should at least explore, the subconscious mind in living a fulfilled life, or just understanding your being and how powerful your being is. So Dr. Salas, thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasant conversation and such thoughtful and educational conversation as well. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. I'm grateful for having all of you listening, grateful for Dr. Salas as well. So take very good care of yourself and remember, it is not your fault. It is not. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Unshelling Medicine Podcast. If you want to stay up to date with the latest episodes, make sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave us a review. Follow us on social media at Altruistic Scribe on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We share additional tips, updates, and health-related content that you won't want to miss. Have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes? Reach out to us at altruisticscribeco.com. We're always eager to hear from our listeners and tackle the health topics that matter most to you. Until next time, stay healthy and take care.